Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're gonna work on the Jeep. It's still running, so this motor must be decent after all. For now, we'll see. I don't trust Dodges as far as I can push them, and I'm a small guy, I can't push cars very far. But today, it idles kind of rough. I think it needs spark plugs because when we blew the last motor up, I never replaced the spark plugs, and we were running all that oil through the intake. So I'm hoping that the spark plugs are just fouled out from all the oil. So we're gonna put spark plugs in it, and hopefully it fixes the idle. We'll see. But I just figured I'd just show you guys how if you don't know how. So enjoy. I already kind of started on this, but to start off, you just pull up on this. They just clip in by these two grommets on here. So just give it a pretty good tug, put it out of the way, then unclip your coils. I already unhooked them. I usually just fold these over here so they are out of your way. And then we're gonna take the 10mm bolts out. They stay in the coils too. There's like a little lock nut on the bottom. So just take them out like that. Pull them out like this. And if you want to do one at a time to keep track of your coils easier, you can. I usually pull all four just because I feel like it's a little bit faster. So I'm going to pull all four, and I always set them in order so they go back in the same cylinder, which you don't absolutely have to. My dad taught me that when I was young, so I've always just did that. So we're going to buzz these out, and then I'll get right back. Here's the spark plug number for you guys wondering if you don't want to trust the parts store. They're not cheap. They're 11 something a piece, and the Jeeps have 16 of them. So it's $200 after tax just for spark plugs. So obviously you don't do it very often, but it's still pretty expensive. And then get yourself a spark plug thing so it has that rubber in there. It holds on to the spark plug for you. I know a lot of you know that, but just going through it for you. See how it clips in there? It won't fall out because they have those small tips and they're that expensive. You don't want to screw them up. So let's get to throwing these in and taking the old ones out. Now for this side, to take them out is a little trickier. So they're pretty far down there, you can't see them, but you need extension, but you got to use the small one on this side. It'll slide down there. See how it's pretty short, and then you got to clip on another one. You got to do that because you can't get a long one in there. It's only this side. This side's really easy. Yank up on that again. This side's way easier because there's nothing in the way. So this side you'll need two of them, and the other side we'll just use the bigger one. So let's take these things out. All right guys, I finished the other side. Kind of got in a hurry, but I have this side out, which is the same process. So we're gonna get them back in. Now I made a video putting spark plugs in my Terminator, and one of the subscribers yelled at me for putting anti-seize on them. He says NGK come with stuff that are already on them, so you don't have to. So I'm taking his words for it. I drop them in nice and slow so they don't get damaged. In these engines, they don't fall very far. So I just drop all of them in, and I take an extension with a spark plug socket without the rubber. I took the rubber out of one and start them all by hand because you don't want to cross thread these, obviously. It's aluminum heads. So I pretty much start them in. I torque them all the way down by hand, honestly. And then I just tighten them up. Because everyone always rushes putting spark plugs in to an extent, but you don't want to just go as fast as you can because it is kind of an important job. You screw up a head, it's pretty costly. So now, come over here. You'll see I took the rubber out of that one just so it's easier. Slide it in, turn it. There is quite a few threads, but it doesn't take too long. And then you just go tighten them with the wrench and you're done. So I'm gonna get these ones all finished in there. I just wanted to show you guys that this actually might do something because a lot of these did get pretty nasty from the oil. So I'm hoping this does clean up the idle a little bit. They're pretty hot. My wife just drove here a little bit ago. So we'll see. Some of them look good, some of them don't. So we'll see if it helps. I'm praying it does. But let me get these buzzed in and then I'll get back to the startup. All right guys, now that we got all the spark plugs back in, we will put the coils back in. I always set these all in too before I start tightening them down. Everyone has their own way to do it though. When you tighten your spark plugs, don't tighten them as tight as you can either. Just do a good torque, but not all your might, because you can strip the head. That'd be absolute worst case doing spark plugs. I always start these by hand too. You never want to strip threads on an easy, quick job like, well, you never want to do it, but especially on a quick job like spark plugs. Turns your 20-minute job into 3-4 hours. So I start them all, and I get that, tighten that, tighten that. Goes pretty quick when you have fancy tools. These cars are pretty easy for spark plugs though. My Gen 1 Raptors have 16 plugs also, the Ford 6.2. And those take like 2 to 3 hours. You gotta pull the front tires, the wheel wells, all that stuff. Now let's go back, clip these. Make sure you hear that little click. Did you hear it? Listen. Make sure you hear all the clicks. Once they're all in, I usually pull a little bit on them, make sure they're all in there. While we're in here, check the fuel injectors too, since we just had it apart. And now the job is done. We'll just clip on like that. Done. Let's start it up and see if this solved our problem. Now, before we actually start it and show you guys, let's do a little guess before I do it. Who thinks that they're actually going to work and clean up the idle? Because there is 16, which means there's 2 per cylinder. So the chances of spark plugs causing that is kind of slim to none. But you never know. It's the cheapest way to check and look at a lot of the 4 of these in each cylinder are crappy. which could have been the same cylinder in a sense. So what do you guys think? Take your guesses now. Let's try it out. My guess is it's gonna work, just because I just went through the motor. Seems to have fixed it so far. The airbag light's on because the clock spring needs a new clock spring. Check engine is on because of spark plug, so we're seeing if it fixed it. Let's put it in gear. She fixed it. They worked. Praise God, something was easy on this thing. Try reverse. Heck yeah. You can't move with the door open. Or the hood open, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if any of you have one of these. They're pretty neat now that we're in it. So the wife got the GTR and we were supposed to sell this. I decided I wanted to keep it for a daily to drive back. Sorry, freaking Bluetooth turned my phone off. But anyways, as soon as my wife drives it, she takes it from me. So now she's been driving the Jeep again. Now she says she might sell her Raptor and keep the Jeep, so we don't know what's going on yet. But what I was getting at is, if you guys don't have one of these, they are pretty cool for this portion of it. It's kind of cheesy, but kind of cool at the same time. You can tell your times, like your best 60-foot, quarter-mile and stuff. It's pretty much a built-in draggy. It is slow, though. They take a while to load. I don't know why they take so long. So there's that. Look at that 60-foot, yeah. G-force crap. I always have it on this one because these temp gauges always like to freaking get hot. Or no, I have it on this one. 194. It usually gets like 220, but they say that's normal for these. And then you can see your horsepower and stuff. But yeah. It was a short video this time. I just wanted to do an easy one. Easy and cheap. Fixed it, fixed the issue, so that's always good. I'm gonna delete the check engine so it's not on anymore. Sure, it'd shut off by itself over time, but it's easier to just have it deleted. Then you know if it comes on again, it's for something that we didn't just fix. So thanks for watching. I know it's kind of a boring video, but someone might find it useful that don't work on cars and want to save some money by going to the shop. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.